Hello guys, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to check in the your spirit guides energies and what they want to share with you. You may have been in an energy of seeking answers, and if you are here, you are in the right place. I hope to give you the most clear, concise, and a direct line of energy communication with your ancestors. In order for me to do that, sometimes it's best for me to do the pre-shuffle before I record and meditate, concentrate, and try to decipher the messages that your ancestors are telling me, because sometimes these readings can be a little intense and sometimes can be heavy for me to read. So I have 4 cards here in front of you guys, and I use the wild animal deck again because it just resonates very deeply in this type of readings for me. I feel that the month of May is inspired by fire energy. We are soon going to be transitioning into Leo sign for Cancer, from Cancer to Leo. When Jupiter moves from Cancer into Leo, that's going to affect a lot of people with fire signs because it either sextiles them in their chart or it trines with them. I don't believe that a sign is bad or good. It just means that there are challenges, just like our lives. You know, it's not meant to be an easy in or out situation. This is how we grow and become better human beings to each other and to our, our faith. So we come here in the energy of the elk. Right now, whoever I am connecting with or to is showing me a very masculine energy. Maybe you are either on your earth, in your earth, or fire energy, or a combination of both. But to me, an elk is a well-respected energy in the animal kingdom. A lot of people fear the elk because they have this huge looming energy, and they're very intimidating because they have this very strong, huge, bulky build that it will take. I remember my sister told me, she lives in Canada, and she talks about elks, and she said they are really more fearful of elks than any other animals there. Of course, besides the deers and all that stuff, but the elk, it is a very heavyweight energy. Imagine an animal, right? So you are right now feeling stable. You are resilient. You're headstrong, and you may be a very empowered father figure energy. Doesn't matter if you're a woman, but you take care of business. You know, an elk energy is supportive, very consistent and dependable, reliable. They say when you have an elk energy in your surrounding, whether it's your mother, your friend, your lover, your husband, wife, your friend, your co-worker, you're gonna feel safe because you know that this elk energy is going to be extremely protective of you. They hover over your energy, you know. This energy is well respected in their chosen field, whether it is a career, a hobby, a creative project. You know, they have this intense, strong energy within them. People notice them. You can't deny the elk energy everywhere you go. People look up to them. The only thing I read about the elk energy, and the one thing that I remember I read about a negative identity of an elk energy, is that they can have a super inflated self of sense, highly egotistical. I can liken this to the Emperor energy in the regular tarot cards. But you know, the thing with the Emperor energy is that They know who they are. They understand their core values and they own it. They make no excuses for who they are, what they stand for, and their beliefs. And sometimes that may be a little too much for other people to take. And so they're not the most likable, but they can be the most respected energy, wherever you are. Um, um, the problem with this, is, like I mentioned earlier, is that, you know, the inflated ego, but they also can be this, like the emperor energy, high and almighty type of energy. So right now, if you are assuming this type of energy, all the positive energy of the elk is great. However, you might want to tone down the I know it all kind of energy, because that can be a little off-putting for people. Okay, so you know, I will never say stop being this and that, because that's not exactly a negative energy. You can just tone it down a little bit. Okay, show some softness in you too. There's nothing wrong with being strong. Okay. Now we go to the octopus energy, and the octopus energy, I'm also not very familiar with the octopus energy, but I know of some people with octopus energy. They can be quiet, and they can be a little mysterious, because octopuses, they're not the most, how do you say that, obtrusive kind of energy. They're not very, how do you say that, like they don't assume anything in their position. They have these tentacles, and so when they sense fear, they eject this type of black ink, and then they escape. To me, that represents a very scorpionic energy. Sometimes Scorpios can lack boundaries and direction. The intensity is way too much, even for themselves. You know, can you imagine how other people feel with that scorpionic energy around them? That can be a little too much, too heavy. Why am I getting so much intense energy here? It is so like Emperor, Mars energy, fire. I have Scorpio, Mars energy, you know, Rahu energy in the Vedic astrology. The octopus energy also represents lack of boundaries in relationships. And when that happens, you end up having one of the messiest relationships that your friends know of you or your family. You know, because you want to be liked, you want to be appreciated. But sometimes the way you go about that is that you misread the room. You misread some boundaries of other people putting up in front of you, or you of yourself, you know, to others. That kind of boundary is out of balance. So you become a little fearful and needy when that happens. You are now in the energy of needing help in seeing things as they are. Because I mentioned the word blurred lines, right? You need help in defining your ability to do the shadow work or inner work. Because sometimes this type of energy has, as mysterious as they are, sometimes they can be really less self-aware of how their presence or their boundless energy and boundless just energy in general, how you talk, how you speak, your presence, how you move, and all that can hurt other people. Some people can be more sensitive than you are. So if you yourself are feeling overwhelmed, you're just here looking for mental clarity. And maybe also you're looking for mental clarity and how you want to deal with other people at the same time. People who do not respect your boundary, or you want to find out how you can respect other people's boundaries as well, vice versa. Okay? So the octopus energy for me here speaks both ways. Either you are here because you're seeking clarity for other people and you want to seek clarity for yourself. I think the octopus energy here is searching for direction. Because, you know, the tentacles can be all over the place, you know? You might also need some guidance through some dark times. And I mentioned shadow work, and that requires not only self-awareness, but self-reflection. I think I can akin this to a hermit card at the same time. You probably want to ask your guides to inspire you to, you know, not give up. I want to tell you that just like a limb, you can also renew and regenerate. So if you lost something, or you're processing a loss, or something failed, it could be a project, a relationship with your family, a relationship with your friends. You want to learn how to be adaptable to those changes, how to adapt to those, maybe some severe changes in your part. You want to understand, right? And to be able to understand how, yeah, the process of grieving and because of loss and all that stuff, I urge you to be less regimented. Be a little flexible. I feel like I'm talking to a mutable sign here, and at the same time a scorpionic energy. Feel like it's a Sag or Scorpio energy here, but you're a multitasker, and that's okay. That's okay. But I mentioned loss, and you know, something failed, and regeneration, and your fear and balance and all of that. The octopus is a multi. I believe an octopus energy is just like Jennifer Lopez. She's that kind of energy for me. She's married several times, multiple times. She does not understand other people's boundaries. Her presence is very intimidating sometimes. She's got that big D energy as a woman, you know? But at the same time, she lacks understanding that sometimes there's a point in your life where you need to gain some perspective in your situation and put things in balance. Okay? You know, she's like the triple threat, right? But at the same time, you know, being a triple threat can feel overwhelming. You know, sometimes her energy can be overwhelming. Maybe other people overwhelm her too at the same time. So moving on to the rabbit energy. Yeah, I mean, we're talking about being overwhelmed here. I mean, this whole read here is, for me, it resonates very strongly in the transformation, regeneration, renewal, feeling overwhelmed from a loss, a heartbreak, pain, something that was really special to you in your life that you lost. Maybe you had put in so much energy into that and you lost it. And so I think this energy is all about, you know, taking charge of what you have left, which is yourself. The rabbit energy here is that maybe too much has been going on in your life. They say when you're in your rabbit energy, right, you have this freeze, flee reaction to danger. Rabbits like to make a lot of fuss about their situation, talking. And then when an ego shows up to snatch them and eat them, that's when they start, oh my God, I should have run. Oh, yeah, it's being able to, like mentioned earlier, read the room. So it applies to the same energy, octopus, rabbit. It's for you to be able to read the room. And if you do that effectively, to not overwhelm you, you will be able to effectively as well leave draining relationships, friendships, you know, like work projects, and learn to prioritize rest and relaxation. You know, sometimes we put too much on our load that we feel like, oh, I can do this. Like I said, multitasker, it all connects, you guys. It's all connecting, I believe. We have to understand that there's so much time for many things, because if we believe that we can do it, right? That we forget how to have fun, the magic of play and fun, right? We forget to appreciate the little things in life. You know, try to get a mani-pedi. Turn your notification off. I mean, go radio silent. And, you know, try to acknowledge your weaknesses and don't position yourself in such a vulnerable state to compromise yourself. You know, sometimes the best action is no action. You know, as a child, we learned early on in the elementary or grade school to stop, look, and listen. Let's apply that in real life as adults as well. Now, let's learn how to adapt. Again, I'm talking to mutable signs and all that stuff is connecting. I'm sorry if I'm going to keep repeating myself because I feel like everything is connecting. And your ancestors is just saying that every energy that's presented here for you guys to connect with is going to make sure that you understand that the message is strong. Okay? You can start new projects that's more aligned to your specific needs and your energy, but you have to find a balance between being a rabbit, which is productivity, and rest. You know? You know what they say about the stranger danger? Let's do that. Let's do that in our current situation. Are you spending so much time sharing your fears but not really doing anything about it? You know? In spite of our fears and our consternations and our doubts, you know, we can still move through in spite of that. Just learn how to create balance and everything will be okay. Everything will be okay. Just learn how to prioritize. Okay? Now we're going to the last card here, which is the Starfish card. This is good energy compared to the last three that I had, which was extremely overwhelming for me emotionally. I find that the month of May, before it ends, is going to find you in a much more clearly defined boundaries and limits. I believe that you are going to be connected to your ancestors by way of, you know, being self-reflected in the moment of stress. Like the rabbit. Be still and listen to your gut. Not being hyper vigilant, because that cannot work. Hypervigilance. It causes a lot of stressful hormones in your body to react like cortisol. It happened to me. Okay. So moving on to the Starfish energy. It's saying you'll be okay. You will be okay. We just need to learn how to let go of the past. I live in the Philippines. I was born in the Philippines. I lived there for 20-something years before I came to the US. And we live very close to the ocean. So I'm very familiar with Starfish energy. On the outside, they look so strong and hard. You know, it's not so hard, but the surface is hard. The external surface is hard, the shell. But the inside is very vulnerable. So in the outside, people, you know, you're so pretty, you're so cute, you look okay. But people do not understand how Starfish had to survive one of the harshest conditions in this planet, which is the ocean bed. You know? But Starfish, they're open to new possibilities. They persevere, you know? So the message here from your ancestors is to say, stop overthinking. Stop catastrophizing things. This is probably an old habit that you've had as a child due to hypervigilance. Maybe you grew up not having that kind of safe environment, and that's why you're always catastrophizing. You're always hypervigilant. But this energy, this whole 4 cards here is telling me towards the end is that This is about radical regeneration, you guys. Okay? We have to be open to new perspective. We have to change old habits, negative patterns. You know, if you haven't been to the gym, go sign up. What about your food choices, alcohol intake, you know, your workout schedule, your work and life balance? You know, let's find a way to balance it out. You can't be all about work, 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 money, 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 and you put yourself at risk of hurting yourself in the end. So what happens to the money that you're making or you made? It's all gonna go straight to your medical expenses. So it only makes sense that if your current situation right now is not working out for you, find a different way. Choose differently. Okay? However, you still have to follow your own path, right? The starfish brings me a very, very strong Aquarius energy. I know a lot of Aquarius in my life. Okay, I'm not gonna get emotional here, okay? I'm gonna stop right there. But Aquarius energy, they're very misunderstood, okay? They wanna be liked so much, and so they wear masks. That's why sometimes you can see in other books the definition of the Seven of Swords is wearing masks, and that's the moon in aqua. Not every energy, like I mentioned earlier, is negative, okay? But this is probably just out of fear. Aquarius energy, I want you to connect with your people. Do you follow your North Star? Do you follow your own path? Do you fill your own cup with self-love and self-care? Are you open to new things in life? Or are you just afraid of doing new things because you're afraid of judgment? Are you afraid to look silly? Are your own dreams compromised by your need to be liked by other people? To be accepted in a social circle? Are you able to express yourself and your authentic self, right? Are you comparing yourself to others? That's a big question. I want to throw it to you guys, okay? Because May is an extremely important month for turning points. Fire sign energy is highly urging us to move, just move. Whatever direction you choose to go, as long as it's following your path. Your ancestors are saying they're supporting you all the way. Okay? Do not compare yourself to others. And last but not the least, try to be willing and open to showing your funny self, the weird in you, because at the end of the day, that's the best in you. That's the best of you. That's the whole of you. Own it. Own yourself. Own your weirdness. Own your silly self. Own it. And so we end the reading right now. I've gone 23 minutes. I'm sorry, guys. It's gotten so long. I hope you found clarity here, and I hope that we embrace wholeheartedly your ancestors' message. This is very important. Thanks for stopping by, okay? I'll see you next time.